Okay. Testing. All right, cool. Microphone is working. We have to get into this pretty quickly, and you know, we have a lot to talk about tonight because this is obviously a treacherous game for the Bulls. Just flat out, just disgusting just to watch this one because the young guys just don't want to bring it, bro. Like, I'm sorry. The young guys just don't want to play for some reason, and it's frustrating as hell to watch because these guys are like, we're you know, like, this is where I'm gonna throw Billy a bone for just a second here, and like, I know a lot of people are pissed off at Billy right now. I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna flame Billy in a second here, but you know, people want the Bulls, or people want Billy Donovan to specifically play certain guys. Like, they want Billy Donovan to play all the young guys and give, you know, Kobe, Giddey, Patrick Williams, Buzelis all these minutes, right? And I think obviously in this sort of game, Buzelis deserves more minutes than he got tonight, and he had a team high of +8 and +- right? Like, he absolutely deserved more minutes. But for the people that want to see the younger guys play, and I'm not just talking about Buzelis here, I'm just talking about in general, right? Then we're seeing right now why Billy is not playing some of these younger guys, and it's because this recent stretch of games for these guys have just been flat out bad. Giddey has been bad, just flat out recently. He has been bad recently. Kobe White got benched at the end of this game because he hasn't been good recently either. Patrick Williams has obviously been benched for, we all know why, right? And Dalen Terry, you know, is not exactly getting as much playing time, but he probably should have more tonight compared to some of the other younger guys on this roster. But this is why these guys aren't getting playing time, and I understand a lot of Bulls fans just like, well, just let them play through the problems that they have. And you know, if this team actually was like just straight up like, oh, we have nobody on the squad, and you know, there isn't really much of like a veteran presence, and you know, a lot of these guys are 19, 20, 21 years old, then yeah, I would agree with this sort of sentiment of like, yeah, just go ahead and just play the young guys, just kind of let them figure it out, and just ride with it. But the problem that you're seeing here is that these younger guys that we keep bringing up as the young guys, right? Some of these guys are 23, 24, 25 years old. So I can't just be like, well, yeah, you're younger, and sure, it'd be perfect if the Bulls could just play all their younger guys and not really have to think about it right now. But when you're 23, 24, 25 years old and you're putting up consistently bad performances, then I'm sorry, you're just going to go to the bench, right? And that's what Billy Donovan has done recently, is that if you're just bad, I don't care if that you're younger, you're not, 19, 20, 21 years old. Like, you don't get to play through as many mistakes. You're just straight up being bad right now. And hence why he's benching some of these guys to be like, hey, look, you got to just straight up play better. It's just so frustrating just to see, because when I talk to people about this team moving forward, people for some reason think that if we just trade Levine and Vucevic right off, like, I'd not even get too much for them, and hopefully we keep the pick this year, and then we'll see about the 2026 season and if we'll keep the pick then. But people kind of act as if it's like, oh, we'll be fine. Like, we got Giddey, we got Kobe White, we got Patrick Williams, we got Ayo Dosunmu, we got a bunch of young talent on the team, and I'm like, I don't know if you guys understand. I think that this team seriously lacks talent. If we're talking from a top to bottom of this roster, I mean, obviously Levine being your best players, you're not going to be winning games consistently. But from top to bottom on this roster, in my opinion, this team lacks talent. Just straight up. Like, this team doesn't have talent like how some people claim. People thought Kobe White would turn to an all-star. Like, I think you're seeing why this isn't necessarily the case. Patrick Williams got his contract, and he's been straight up treacherous recently. I look at those two guys as like, these were two pillars for people, as like, oh, these are our foundational pieces moving forward, and you're seeing why they're bad, right? Josh Giddey was supposed to be looked at as the point guard of the future and run the offense for this squad, and he has just been bad. He has unfortunately just been bad. So as much as I want to act as if like, hey, I have hope for this team, you have to understand where I'm at right now, where it's like, these young guys, like, I understand Levine and Vooch are still here, but they gotta show me more if they're gonna want to be like a big part of this core moving forward. Hence why I've been saying that this Bulls team needs the pick. Like, they desperately need to pick this upcoming draft, because they just lack talent. They lack young talent, but in general, they just lack talent. If you want to count Kobe White and Ayo and Giddey and Williams, Giddey is still on his rookie deal, but the others are not on the rookie deals anymore. If you want to count those guys as, part of the young core moving forward, but they're not on the rookie deals, but if you just look at them right now, it's like, have they kind of already peaked? Right? And that's why I'm saying, like, this team just severely lacks young talent. I understand. I think we all can agree, like, hey, they're missing, like, the foundational superstar that ideally you would hope to draft with the top 3 pick. But even past that, I'm just looking at this roster. I'm just like, if Levine and Vucevic are gone, God almighty, I don't know how this team's going to score consistently. And not to mention, they're not good defensively. So I just wanted to open up with this, because I think you're really starting to see that this front office has a lot more to do than I think that they maybe even realized. I think for them, they were thinking that, okay, we get Levine and Vucevic off the books. We ideally get some young asset or future assets in return for both those guys. Maybe not a lot, but you clear up the cap space. You, pay Josh Giddey this summer, and hopefully we keep the pick. We hopefully keep the 2026 pick, and we'll be off and rolling. When, if you really think about it, that's not it. Like, there is so much more to do. And I think some Bulls fans, even if for the ones that were calling for the rebuild, are like, hey, this is like, play all the young guys. Like, I think some of them don't understand just how far away this Bulls team is from really being competitive again right now. Because these young guys have been just disappointing this season, unfortunately, from top to bottom. What's going on, Google? I've not been watching Bulls games because I start school on Tuesday and work, but dang, we are poop. Yeah, just absolutely garbage right now for the Bulls. 5-game losing streak, longest of the season, against obviously some pretty bad teams, right? And people can say that. You can blame the vets for not coming out and playing well against the Charlotte game, or not playing well against the Hawks G League team. But I look at those games and I'm like, well, the vets should just continue doing what they're doing. But those are games for the young guys to really take advantage and show, like, hey, we're better than this team. We're better than these younger players. And they just didn't. That's, I think, what people aren't really taking from those games, where it's like, oh, we blame the vets, we blame the coaching staff for, losing to the Atlanta Hawks G League team. And I'm like, sure, if you want to go ahead and do that, but where's Josh Giddey? Where's Patrick Williams? Like, these are the guys that people keep talking about as starting players for the future of this team. And I'm like, okay, if that's the case, then where are these guys? That's the frustrating part, because I'm like, I'm not seeing it. And the reality is that these specific guys, like, people act as if, oh, they'll have a bigger role when Levine and Vooch are gone. If there's a superstar on this roster, they're back to being in the exact same role, what they're playing right now. So I just don't know what to tell people that fully believe in the younger players currently on the roster. I've been consistently saying that this team still needs to go and get talent. They need to go and get talent in any way possible. But right now, this team severely lacks talent, and I hope that people understand that. And especially after these last 5 games, it's been pretty awful to watch. And you're seeing the lack of talent on the roster from top to bottom. Roster F and turnover, too much good place to see from the bottom to the top. It's just straight up, it's just bad, bro. Like, if I'm gonna just go ahead and I'll ask you guys this question. Hold on, I'm gonna stop the music for a second here. Right now, who out of the younger guys, so we'll say 25 and younger for the younger guys, okay? So we'll start saying 25 to younger as the younger guys for this squad. So that includes Patrick Williams, Kobe White, Josh Giddey, Ayo Dosunmu, Dalen Terry, Matas Buzelis, okay? Julian Phillips as well. I'm not going to count THT in this, all right? I don't know what Jalen Smith's age is at the moment, but we won't count him either, okay? Out of those guys that I just mentioned for you, who do you think has the most talent between all the guys I just listed? Okay? One more time. P. Will, Josh Giddey, Kobe White, Ayo Dosunmu, Dalen Terry, Julian Phillips, Matas Buzelis. Okay? Those are 7 guys right now that all played tonight. Who do you think has the most talent out of all those guys right now? And I want to actually like hear this, because I think if you're kind of on the same wavelength that I am right now, like, you kind of look at those guys and you're just like, well, no one really stands out, right? Like, not one singular player you're looking at right there. You're like, yeah, like I think this guy has like very clearly like the most talent between of all these 7 guys, right? Like, no one stands out. No one. You look at all these guys and I'm like, I don't know if any of them are going to really turn into a 20-point per game scorer. And unfortunately, most of them are not that good defensively, or at least to the point where you're looking at like defensive potential is like in a high level, so that it's going to be like where they're going to turn into like a potential all-defensive team defender or be one of the best help defenders in the league, right? Because if you ask me, and I want to hear what you guys have to say, right? But to me, out of all those guys with for ranking potential, like, I honestly think that Matas Buzelis is probably the highest guy with the most potential there out of all those guys that I just listed. Okay. Maybe because it's defense, like, yeah, maybe it's Ayo, because like I know with Ayo that he can start and play both sides of the ball, right? Maybe it's him. And again, I'm not talking about like, you know, I just want to make it clear, I'm not talking about who's the best player now. I'm talking about who are you looking at as the most potential, right? Oh, sorry, ad. Sorry, ads are off. Sorry, my bad. I forgot to turn ads off. My bad. So, sorry, ads are off. I apologize, King Cap. Ads are off. Sorry, I do apologize about that. Buzelis, yeah. Most potential is Matas for sure. Most other guys have peaked or peaked at this point. Right. So, I just really look at that and I'm like, God, this team really needs to go and just get young talent. Hence why I've been calling for the rebuild, right? I've been calling that because, again, rebuild doesn't mean tanking. Rebuilding means that you're, at least my definition of rebuilding is that you try to accumulate as much young talent as possible in a short amount of time. Okay, that's what rebuilding is. So, you know, getting as many draft picks as possible. I don't care where the draft picks are. You're just selecting young guys, right? So that's why I look at this roster moving forward, and I'm like, yeah, I want Levine and Vooch off the team, right? But for these younger players that, you know, Patrick Williams has been committed to, Josh Giddey was traded for to be committed to, right? And we have to make a decision with Kobe and Ayo very quickly here. All right. But out of all those guys, right, I'm like, I think Buzelis has the most potential to be the best player. And that's concerning because Kobe's going to be 25 in next month. Io's already 25. He just had his birthday. You know, Patrick Williams is still in no man's land right now. I don't know what the hell he's still doing. Josh Giddey, I think some people would argue would have the most potential because of the triple-double stuff, but we're very clearly seeing why Josh Giddey is not going to be the point guard of the future for this team, right? Dalen Terry has been disappointing for the most part. Now, I don't know if he's been developed properly, but sure. And then Julian Phillips, I still think is a project right now, and I can see a world for Julian Phillips moving forward, but I don't know if it's starting level caliber for him. So, like, I really do think right now that Buzelis has the most potential out of all the young guys, again, 25 or younger, for this squad. And again, I saw the, you know, what Camille said, Jalen Smith is 24. Like, I'm not going to count Jalen Smith in that because I do think Jalen Smith is just like, you can see he's pretty much just kind of is who he is at this point. But even if we throw in Jalen Smith in that conversation, right, like, I still think it's Buzelis. And I've been pretty adamant that, like, I think Buzelis, like, his peak, like, if he hits his peak, like, I really only see him as, like, a third option on offense. But I do think he'll be, like, one hell of a defender on defense. So at least you have that, right? But this is why I've been emphasizing that the team really needs to keep the pick. Because that's just another young player just to add to this team. You know, someone that you can hope to, you know, at least develop into some, you know, high-level starter. I'm not asking for all-star. I'm just asking for them to become better than Patrick Williams in the starting lineup, okay? Which is a pretty low bar, right? So I just caution a lot of the... we're not counting THT. He's not part of this future right now. But I just caution some of the people that say, like, oh, this Bulls team is, like, they're not that far off. You just trade Zach, you just trade Vooch, then you get the reset in money, you hopefully get some future assets for those guys, and we're off and rolling with this new young squad with a lot of the guys still on the roster. I'm like, I don't feel good about that. Like, if you're going to be putting your franchise in Kobe White, you know, Patrick Williams, Josh Giddey's hands, right, I don't feel that good. Like, I feel pretty awful. I understand that there are a lot of Josh Giddey supporters, but I just don't feel that good about having him run the team moving forward. Kobe White, I think he's pretty much peaked. And I've been pretty adamant about that kind of all season long, where I don't really think Kobe's going to turn into an all-star. I don't think he's going to get to 20 points per game ever. At least not that efficiently. And Patrick Williams, I mean, the box score looks a lot better, but Patrick Williams scored 7 points in the first 90 seconds of the game, and he didn't score another point until like 4:30 left in the fourth quarter when the game is basically over. So you're basically telling me that the franchise is then going to be put into the hands of these guys. And again, I'm not saying that these are supposed to be the superstars of the franchise, because you're ideally, if you do trade Levine and Vucevic, like, you ideally go and get, you know, hopefully a top pick and you draft your next superstar. But either way, then you're still looking at 3 starters for this team that people are saying, oh yeah, they'll be part of the team moving forward. And I'm like, I don't know if these guys are really starters moving forward for, like, the next iteration of the Bulls. Like, whenever Kobe White, Josh Giddey, or Patrick Williams is, let's say, 28, 29, like, I don't know if they're actually going to be starters with the way that they're currently playing, especially right now. So I'm just pointing it out, because I think if there's anything that the Bulls front office should be looking at from this season, is that the young talent that they were hoping to, like, really take a step forward, for the most part this season has pretty much taken a step back. I mean, if you think about it, they trade for Josh Giddey hoping he'd be coming in and, like, being, like, this, you know, next point guard of the future, averaging close to triple-double easily, and, you know, hopefully increasing his points per game average to, like, at least past, like, 16 or higher, right? Hasn't happened. Kobe White had that nice year last year. He's been worse this year in terms of efficiency and points per game. Patrick Williams got the contract, and he has had injury issues, but he's clearly has not been good. He's shooting under 30 or under 40% for the season. Io has had some rough moments as well, but I think he's been kind of the player that's, like, at least been the best out of all the guys that kind of returned, because Io's averaging a career high in terms of points per game for him this year. So at least there's that. So if there's one guy that did take a step forward, it is Io, because he's averaging a career high in points per game, but it's basically the same numbers as last year for him in terms of that. Assists are higher, so that's good. But, I mean, like, no one really took a step forward. And, again, I'm aware that these guys are still here. But I also think that between Levine and Vucevic, like, these guys have been pretty unselfish this year to try to let these other players flourish. And these guys have not taken advantage. I think Julian Phillips has been okay. But I still see that he has a ways to go. And then Buzelis is a rookie. So the young guys just aren't taking that step forward where it's necessary for me to feel much more comfortable of the future for this team. This Bulls team really needs to find a way to accumulate young talent fast. Like, I'm talking as quick as possible, because the young talent right now on this roster that you consider young talent isn't enough for the future of this team. And I'm really just gonna be interested to see how it's going to work out, because there's a lot kind of going on here. Sorry, music going back on here. So Duncan, how about the refs tonight and free throws? The officials were awful, but I don't think that's why they lost the game tonight. The Bulls' inconsistent scoring right now between the younger players is the reason why they lost the game tonight. I mean, look. So I tweeted out basically at the end of the third quarter. Okay, I'm talking about like let's just talk about the last 4 minutes, okay? So Billy took out a bunch of guys. Like, Billy took out Giddey, Kobe, and Patrick Williams, and it was a lineup of Levine, Vucevic, I think it was Julian Phillips, Ayo Dosunmu, and I'm forgetting I think it was Dalen Terry. I'm forgetting the other guy. But basically, though, he took out the three younger players in the starting lineup, and Levine and Vooch basically were able to get the Bulls back to even, okay? At 3:15 left in the third quarter, the Bulls were tied at 75 with the Portland Trailblazers. That is also the time when Vucevic and Levine both left the floor and were subbed out. And some way, somehow, the Bulls in 3 minutes found a way to only score 2 points, and then they were down by 10 to end the third quarter. That lineup, though, of when Levine and Vooch came out, it consisted of Kobe, Ayo, Giddey, and other younger players. And it just shows you that those guys are just not where they need to be. That's the big issue right now. You're seeing that these younger players, and I'm not asking them to, like, you know, be like a great second unit. I'm just seeing that, like, the negatives right now for this current squad, when it's just the younger guys out there or it's just a second unit, it's a pretty rough go. You could just even look at the plus minuses for these younger players. I mean, Jalen Smith is always in the second unit. He was minus 11 tonight. Patrick Williams was minus 9, and he played a good amount in the second unit. Kobe was minus 8. So, like, you're just kind of seeing, like, the trend of, like, well, when Levine and Vooch are off the floor, this team is basically, like, 10 points worse than when they're on. And that's not a good sign for these younger players, because if you're looking at these guys as, again, they're 23, 24, 25-year-olds, then I expect better. Again, if this was 19, 20, 21-year-olds, then I can live with that. Like, you're going to be bad. But these other players that we consider young, like, these are supposed to be guys that are supposed to be they're just supposed to be better than what we're seeing right now. And we're not seeing it. So, it's frustrating as hell. Just to overall just see what's happening. Well, Elitist aren't Samanta's face and go straight. I agree. I think, well, not only did Aiden do that, but he also jumped into Buzelis. Like, Aiden did go straight up. He jumped into Buzelis, so that should have been a foul, too. Levine and Donovan were very upset with the lack of fouls. I mean, Zach had 5 free throws for the game. That doesn't make much sense to me when Scoot Henderson has 8 and Shaden Sharp has 6. Like, Zach should have had more. He got fouled multiple times and it just wasn't called. But again, like, I don't think that's why the Bulls lost the game tonight, or didn't keep it close enough. I think it's because the other guys for the Bulls that weren't named Levine or Vucevic, like there were no double-digit scores until like midway through the fourth when DeSumo hit 2 free throws. That alone should show you like this team has been bad, and like they've just been consistent. Like the younger players cannot be this bad, but they were this bad tonight. Kobe White and Josh Giddey, your starting backcourt of the future for some people, they put together a whopping total of 9 points tonight with Giddey going scoreless. That's not going to cut it. I'm sorry. Giddey was 0 for 2, should have taken more shots, obviously, but he also missed a layup they should have made. Like, yeah, just this is the problem. Kobe White and Josh Giddey, both huge disappointments tonight. I honestly think those two have just been huge disappointments in this losing streak. Like, it's one thing to lose and like your younger players are playing okay and like, you know, they're at least going the right direction. But it's another thing to lose and you're seeing that these younger players, again, that are not 20, 21, these guys are 23, 24, 25. And we're seeing the very big problems that they have right now. That's not good to see. These three guys that are getting so far to show the most consistent, and they're the vets. Yeah, it's none of the guys that have shown consistency throughout the season have been the younger players. Besides maybe Io, but he had a rough start to the year, so it's just straight up bad with how the consistency from the younger players have been. Which again, if you're a teenager, 19, like I can get consistency, but if you're 24, you gotta have some level of consistency, man. I think Josh Giddey fundamentally messed up the dynamic. Even if people try to downplay it, guys' roles constantly being shifted. Do you mean that the Bulls shifting Giddey's role messes up that, or do you mean that Giddey being brought in kind of messed up the dynamic? Because I can see both ways. But yeah, I do agree though that Giddey's role has been shifted because of his lack of success. Like, that's why, you know, his role constantly is being kind of moved around, because it's like, well, we try to put you in this role, it's like that didn't work. Like, we had him handle the ball a lot to start the season, and that wasn't going really much anywhere. And so then we moved into off ball, right? And it's like, well, that's not exactly going the best, but it's a little bit better, right? So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what Giddey is still. Like that, I feel like that's a problem. And heading into a contract, you know, this is contract year, and to head into a restricted free agency. Like, if I don't know what type of player you are, like, I don't know if I want to pay you. But here we are. Front office did their job yet again. This is a strategy to keep the pick, though. Live and die by the 3, losing to teams beneath you, cancel wins you didn't expect it versus better teams. Sorry. I also, RT Blues has been, he's been watching my streams, and I do apologize for my mumbling when I do read chat messages, but it's kind of just the way I am, so I do apologize if I'm not making any sense when I do read chat, when I read it out loud, excuse me. But that's just the way I have ADHD brain, so I do apologize about it. I understand the live and die by 3, but I think that the team itself just is built to do that, so like, you're gonna have to just live with whatever the results are with it. But when it comes to the pick, though, like, this team is still not exactly in the best spot, because they're still right now, the problem right now is they're like, they're here, so they're still technically the 9th worst team in the NBA, and I'm interested because this is what's concerning me right now, because San Antonio has gone kind of downwards recently, and I don't need that, because we need San Antonio to stay above us. They lost again tonight. The Bulls are worse than them because they're on a 5-game losing streak, but San Antonio needs to stay above us. But we still are waiting for one of these teams right now, between the 76ers, the Nets, who 76ers lost again tonight. And I don't know if Portland's going to figure out a way to kind of, you know, beat us in the standings. It'd be kind of a miracle if they did. But, you know, one of these teams, at least in my opinion, needs to pass us, because I want at least 2 spots. Like, we can fall back 2 spots and keep the pick still. But I don't know. Like, right now, we can only fall back 1 spot. That means if one team jumps ahead of us, that's fine. But if 2 teams jumps ahead of us, then we lose the pick. Like, I would at least like to be, you know, in the 8th worst team in the NBA. But I understand that's hard to you know, that's not really in your control here. So I've been waiting for Philly to figure out their crap, and Embiid isn't going to come back for at least another 10 days here. They're on a 6-game losing streak, so I mean, the Pelicans are on a 3-game winning streak and they got Zion back, so it'd be a miracle if they somehow catch the Bulls in the standings, but that'd be ideal. Portland has been bad recently. They're 3-7 in their last 10, so I don't know, bro. It's looking pretty bleak. So we're just basically right now, if the lottery was today, then you're basically praying to the gods that like you keep the pick, like nothing changes in the lottery at all. Like you just stay, like you're praying you stay at 9, or only one team behind you jumps ahead, which that just doesn't feel too good. Yeah, I agree with you, Rob. Half-court offense with the bench specifically is very inexperienced. That's the thing, though. I don't think they are that inexperienced, okay? I do think that some players off the bench are inexperienced, like Buzelis, like Julian Phillips, right? But when it comes to, like, the problem is that Billy is running, like, starters in the second unit always. So you always have a Kobe, an Ayo, or a Giddey in the second unit. Those guys have played a lot of games. So, like, I don't really think they're that inexperienced. That's what's more concerning to me. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, King Cap. I do apologize. Ads are off. Sorry. Also, wait to Tank and keep the pick. Yeah, hopefully. Getting being brought in. Gotcha, Camille. Yeah. It may have really affected Ayo and Kobe's overall play. I mean, again, I think Ayo's having overall a career high in terms of points per game and assists, so like he's been pretty okay. The problem is the 3-point percentage for him, which has been a dip, but I mean, he's still shooting efficiently. He's not turning the ball over. He's highest assists per game, highest rebounds per game, and points per game is same as almost last year, which is a pretty solid year for him. So I mean, at least that's okay. But I will agree though that I do think with Kobe, maybe it did mess him up, and the chemistry between Giddey and Kobe just isn't there. Like, it clearly isn't there, and that's not good for your backcourt of the future that some people want. What's going on, Taro? Layout percentage, this losing streak been so bad. It has been pretty awful. The way Portland is Avdia like a power point forward was something I like to see from our power forwards. Maybe I just don't think any of them really have the skill set to do such a thing. Maybe Buzelis, right? If Buzelis is able to do what we saw from Avdia tonight, which by the way, Avdia was moving a lot better than I've ever seen. Like, that was the quickest I've ever seen Denny Avdia move. Like, that's the quickest I've ever seen him move on or off ball. He's obviously a really solid defender already. So if Buzelis is able to handle the ball like he does and like get to the basket effectively, like, I'd be all for it. But unfortunately for the Bulls, I don't think Patrick Williams has that ability because he dribbles off his foot too many times. Julian Phillips doesn't really put the ball on the floor in the first place. And yeah, and then it's up to Buzelis, right? Which he's in his rookie season, so I don't expect that this year. So hopefully down the road, Buzelis is able to do stuff like that. But for now, I don't really know. The 76ers, Thunder is doing great. Yeah, Thunder are doing amazing. Yeah. The 76ers, we truly need the 76ers to stop being crap. Embiid's out, so there's that issue. But yeah, if the 76ers can find a way, because the problem is that the Bulls have gone on a 5-game losing streak, but the 76ers have gone on a 6-game losing streak. So as we've lost, the 76ers have not caught up to us, which is the problem. But yeah, if the 76ers can get onto this winning streak and because they need to make the play-in. Like, there's no reason for them right now to tank. They don't have full control over their pick. So they need to get into the play-in. So, like, they need to take the Bulls spot. If they do that, I'd be a little bit happier. I won't be less stressed, but I still will be stressed because we then only be the 8th worst team in terms of record. Unfortunately, I don't think Brooklyn, Hornets, Raptors are catching us. Obviously, the Wizards are a lost cause. And maybe Portland figures it out suddenly, but I doubt it. So yeah, it's really on the 76ers and then all the other teams in the West out here, like the Spurs, the Warriors, the Suns, the Kings, these teams that are all fighting for playoff position here, they all have to stay above the Bulls. The losing streak has helped that, but yeah, I don't know. The good thing is there's still half a season left and moves could be made. I agree. I just hope that the front office isn't stupid and gets their head out of their asses and is able to actually make the proper moves. But I don't have faith in that. That's the issue. I talk about this often, but the closer it gets to the end of the season, it's going to be crazy how to watch how teams are they really trying to win? Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, I think that, you know, the Wizards, Raptors, the Jazz, like, I think a lot of them are going to really try to, like, bottom out for Cooper Flag. But it'd be interesting to watch. Like, the kind of the on the cusp teams. Like, are you going to be part of the play-in, or are you going to actually just try to be bad? So that'll be interesting. It's not high. There's not a very high percentage of 3 teams jumping though, so get to 8 if they can. Yeah, that's again. I'd feel a lot better at 8. Like, if 2 teams jump ahead and if you're the 8th worst team, then you'll still keep the pick. You'll end at 10. And again, I don't really even care where the pick lands. Like, I just care that you have the pick, because I talked about this. I talked about to start the stream. Like, this team just needs young talent. They just need young talent. And they need to accumulate it in any way possible. So you're gonna have a 2nd round pick this year because you're gonna get one from the DeMar DeRozan deal. So it's from the Kings. So you'll have that, right? But you getting that 1st round pick, like I don't even care that's top 10. Like I would just be happy just having it in like at the 25th overall pick. It's just that you get another young player. That's all I care about. Like, that alone is just more important than like where the pick lands. But for the Bulls, it's only top 10 protected, so it's important where it lands right now. But I don't, like, if it wasn't, like, I genuinely wouldn't care. I just would want the pick. Like, I wouldn't care if it was 30th overall. I just would be happy just to have one, because this team needs young talent desperately. So Smith's minutes stretch if he doesn't score, especially. Yeah. Jalen Smith, it's been very interesting to watch Jalen Smith this year, because like I like him still, but he has like these games where it's like he misses some like easy looks. Yeah, like he has to find a way to get back to his good finishing at the basket. The 3-point percentage, like I can live with it, but obviously I would obviously like for that to go up. But yeah, I want to keep, you know, Jalen Smith around. But again, like, he's not someone I'm that concerned about moving forward. Like, he's going to be a bench player. That's fine. $9 million is not even the mid-level exception. That's fine. So one thing is adding a player doesn't make a player drop in the 3-point percentage. Yeah. I think the most important factor is health, because if guys are battling and playing through injuries, depending on where that injury is to, it's going to affect your play, especially if it's a foot. I agree, but I mean, Io, you know, had an issue and he's coming back, like, so guys just have to still play through. The Clippers were so correct for not paying for that podcaster. Wait, which one? Oh, are you talking about JJ Redick? is that who you're talking about, Viper Strike? I did not get that initially, sorry. Montes can't play point forward, in my opinion. It won't happen this year, but maybe down the road for sure. Oh, it's about Paul George. Oh, top up PG. Got it. Yeah, I forgot that podcast P is now a thing. Yeah, sorry. But yeah, oh my god, bro. Yeah, the Clippers made the absolutely correct decision, which is funny because, yeah, I was not expecting that. Yeah, bro. The 76ers, bro, like, that's money that's gonna be wrapped up for like a 38-year-old Paul George. Like, oh my god. Another did not play due to injury or illness. So, I really thought Paul George, like this, I thought he wasn't gonna have like this bad of a season. Like, I know he started out pretty bad, but I thought he'd figure it out. Yeah, it's been bad. It's been pretty bad for him. It's just crazy though, because it's like, I understand he's 34, but we've seen a lot of players recently that are into their like late 30s that are mid 30s, and I'm like, they're fine. Like they're not playing their prime, but they're fine. And I thought Paul George, because of his size, he I understand he lost some athleticism with the leg injury that happened to him, but I thought he'd be okay. I thought he'd actually age pretty well because he's a good 3-point shooter and everything. But no, this has been pretty crazy to watch. He's aging pretty badly at the moment, which is kind of crazy. But everyone's different, right? You would think that like in everyone's heads, it's like, oh, this player will age fine, and then this player wouldn't, and then Steph Curry at 6'3" is playing high level basketball at age 36, and Paul George at age 34 at 6'8" somehow, some way is not playing that great. Kevin Durant, he tore his Achilles, and I thought that he would not age that well, and yet he's in his mid 30s and he's fine. So yeah, I don't understand, honestly, but just some people are just different with how things work. I'd also like to see a little more of the Western Conference. Hope they have a chance to maybe make a trade for one of the Bulls. I hope so. I don't have faith in it. Bulls need to choose a direction, blow it up, or retool. I agree. But I've been calling for a rebuild. I think a retool is pretty hard right now because I've just talked about the lack of talent, right? I think with the lack of talent on your roster, it's pretty hard to retool because no one's going to be asking for your young talent, right? So if that's the case, then I think your best interest is just to blow it up because you need to just accumulate young talent as quickly as possible. I take chances on a few second rounders this year if we trade off people. Oh, for sure. If we can trade Torrey Craig for a second round pick, I'll gladly accept that. I mean, just because, again, you're just accumulating young talent. That's all I'm looking for. And I say it's crazy how many teams thought they were too good for Levine. Imagine the Sixers took him instead. Oh, I mean, yeah, if the Sixers were able to take Zach instead, I mean, bro, they should have absolutely have done it now. I mean, looking back. Zach, obviously, on that roster also fits pretty well. But I have to remind myself, hold on, give me 1 second, because I know Paul George. Sorry, I just want to double check. I don't think this was a sign and trade, right? Like, was this just a straight up guys, remind me, because I'm blanking. Like they just signed they just signed Paul George. It wasn't a sign and trade, right? Like that's correct, straight up. Okay, yeah. So I if I'm remembering correctly, because they had a bunch of cap holds. They got rid of all their cap holds. They kept it. They obviously had Embiid. But then they brought in Paul George via cap space. They re-signed Tyrese Maxey with the bird rights. Okay, yeah, that's how it worked out. Okay. Got it. Okay, yeah. That's right. Yeah. So, it's interesting to think about because obviously if you want Zach, you got to trade for Zach, right? You just can sign Paul George outright. You don't have to give up anything. So I think that's the thought process, right? You don't want to give up any assets just to get Zach, and he was a risk. Like I'm aware that he was a risk. So I don't blame some teams for not spending the assets, but for a team like the Warriors, I don't understand it at all because they have many assets to give. But 76ers don't have like a bunch of assets to give out. So yeah, but obviously, we're looking back at it now. It's like, well, they probably would have liked to have had Zach instead of Paul George right now, for sure. Was that the 4th or 5th challenge this year where Smith gets called for a foul on a block and they win the challenge? I think that's like the 4th. I'd have to think back on it. You would think the referees give him more benefit of the doubt. What's funny is when he probably came to the Bulls is when he started getting less. Oh, for sure. Oh, yeah. You put on a Bulls uniform, you don't get the benefit of the doubt unless your name is Alex Caruso. I don't understand this game, Lo. Hey, Noel. Yeah. I kind of understand this game, but it's hella frustrating right now. Because the young guys, bro, they are just disappointing as hell at this moment. Retooling, but the only tools we have is rock and nail clippers. Yeah, that's the problem. Because I'll say it one more time just for anyone that's interested. So I said that if we were able to trade Alex Caruso for multiple picks, or, you know, maybe not multiple picks, but at least, like, more young assets, trade DeMar DeRozan for, I don't know what you would get, but, like, you would at least get 2 second-round picks out of it and a contract, right? You would probably get more, though, if you did trade DeMar DeRozan at last year's trade deadline. I still think you would have gotten more, obviously, than the sign-and trade that you just did with the Kings. So I was saying that if you were able to get those, if you're able to trade those two guys, ideally also find a way to trade Vooch, then you'd be able to keep Zach, or maybe even trade Zach, but then you would have the assets to retool. Like, you wouldn't have to rebuild, because you would have the assets to go ahead and try to make the team better via trades, right? And you would also have some cap space to work with, so, like, it would be possible. But they didn't do that. They traded Caruso too late, so that you got less value for him, and you got Giddey instead, which that hasn't worked out. You trade DeMar DeRozan, or you sign and trade DeMar DeRozan, so you signed and traded him when he was a free agent, so you're not going to get anything in return for him, really. Which you got 2 second-round picks out of it, which is nice, and Chris Duarte, right? But, you know, it is what it is. Vooch obviously still here, Levine's still here, so you don't have the assets to retool. You just don't. So that's why I've been calling for the rebuild, because I'm like, you need to go and find a way to accumulate young talent quickly. So here we are. Because if it was a signing trade for the Warriors, would have had a chance. Yeah, the Clippers just didn't want to send him into an in-division rival. So yeah. Vooch also, although slow, still putting up offensive production. So I don't mind what Vooch did tonight. His numbers don't look amazing. I mean, he shot 6 of 14. You know, another double-double for him, as Stacey Keene likes to say. I don't mind, honestly, what he did tonight. I actually thought he got fouled on multiple attempts that they just didn't call it. I think Vooch was okay tonight. I don't have an issue with what he did. Obviously, I would like for him to hit more than, you know, or shoot higher than 50% as a big man, but, like, again, I'm not going to be that critical. I think he was fine. So, yeah, it's been nice to see that Vooch's production has been a little bit better than after I was, like, he had, like, some pretty rough shooting performances. Hi, Delbert. Holy hell, that was a sticker of a loss. It was, bro. We need to trade before it's too late. I agree. But, honestly, though, I don't think you're going to get that many offers right now. CJ Ingram 2026 draft, I like as a sleeper, reminds me of Butler. Okay. Sorry, I don't know any of these guys, unfortunately, because I don't pay attention to the draft prospects, so. Giddey has to be one of the slowest guards in the league next to Kyle Anderson. So I think Josh Giddey, on offense, when Josh Giddey's pushing the ball, I think he's actually pretty fast. Like, he's not Russell Westbrook in his prime or Derrick Rose in his prime fast. And he's not as fast as Io, but I think if you're just saying overall with, like, how Giddey moves within the half court and then obviously the half court defense, then I do think Giddey is pretty slow. His shot is also pretty slow. So if you're talking about that, and then, like, when he tries to navigate a pick and roll, I do think he's pretty slow with that. Hence why I don't think he can be a ball handler. Even these days, even centers these days need speed for that spacing aspect. Oh, I agree. Yeah, like that. With center specifically, we call that vertical spacing, right? If you have the speed and quickness, that creates more vertical spacing with the center. Yeah, I agree. Would you trade up for this upcoming draft? Are you asking for Camille? Yeah. It matters what it would cost. Like, if I'm able to, you know, let's just say, for example, like, if I'm able to trade, let's say we keep the pick, because first and foremost, we got to keep the pick, right? Like, we have to keep the pick to be able to trade up, because it's like, no team is going to accept future first round pick, like 2 future first round picks or whatever, or a player in it for a trade up situation. So we gotta keep the pick first. Let's say we end at 8, or so let's just say we end at 9 because that's a thing for the Bulls. If it costs like Dalen Terry and like maybe a second, then yeah, maybe. But I personally wouldn't look for it because I think for you to trade up when you're top 10, it's going to cost you a future first-round pick. And unless the team's going to be willing to take that Portland pick, which probably isn't going to convey anytime soon, then I don't think that the Bulls are going to be willing to give up a future first-round pick to trade up. So I personally would not do it if that's what it costs. But I don't know. It matters what's needed to get, be able to trade up. Don't know what exactly the cost would be. Because, like, ideally, you're not just going from, like, 9 to 7. Like, if you're going to be trading from 9, I would hope you're trading into the top 5. The problem is, though, is that those top 5 teams most likely are going to be the bad teams. So they're just going to want future assets. Like, they're not going to want, like, a player on your current roster, right? So it'll be pretty rough, in my opinion. But that's my answer. What about you, Camille? Do you think we should trade up? Because I'd be interested. It's partly why I hate Vooch defense. He's so slow, can't jump, so when he gets into the middle of nowhere on defense, it's over. Oh, I agree. Think he's out, get a shot, yeah. Guards can get any shot typically versus Vooch because they know he really jumps. I mean, we all know Vooch's defensive liabilities, right? That's not shocking to Bulls fans. Hence why I've been saying that I don't know if the team's going to really trade for Vooch, but yeah. Don't let people officially. I don't care if he breaks out for 50 tomorrow. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much almost out on P. Will as well. I mean, we'll quickly talk about it, about the AK rumor that Joe Coley put out there that Arturas Karnisovas is, he's willing to trade Patrick Williams, which I'm just like, that's not news. Like, I don't know why that Coley's trying to break news and get clicks as usual, but I mean, I know why, but it's just that's not really news. I think it's already pretty clear that everybody on this team is available. Like, no one's untouchable. No one should be untouchable on this roster. The closest guy to untouchable is probably Montes Buzelis because he was just drafted. But I mean, anybody else though, I think is, if the price is right, you're just sending him out. So I don't think it's not that big of a thing. Yeah, Patrick Williams is available via trade. Like, that's not shocking. I think everyone is available via trade on this roster. If Giddey gets 20 mil, which is around AC, what he got, isn't that considered equal trade again in terms of future contract value? Just that? No, I don't think so at all. I think Alex Caruso is very clearly, in terms of contract value for him, like, that contract is very good. You're talking about an all-defensive team defender. Like, that's a very good contract. So, at least in my opinion, no. I think the whole Oklahoma City Thunder clearly won the trade. I've said OKC didn't tease that pick because they knew the value of both trade. I disagree. That makes sense. I was just wondering because if we're as down as on our young talent as we are, it would be emergency button to press. But it would also then limit the amount of young talent you could get in the future too, right? Like, if we're trading up, then you're trading away a potential future first round pick probably. That's not something I'd be interested in. Because I'll say this, okay, Camille, like, at least for me, again, like, I just want to accumulate as much young talent as possible. So what I think wouldn't be that bad of an idea is, let's say if the Bulls keep the pick, right? Let's say the Bulls land at 9. Like, I wouldn't actually be that opposed if there's a team behind us that has like 2 first round picks at, like, let's say like at like 13 and like, I don't know, let's just say 20, right? Like, if a team has like 2 first round picks behind us, like, let's say that they're 13 and have the 13th overall and 20th overall pick, I wouldn't mind trading back, because then I'm getting two young players for the price of 1 first round pick that we have this year, right? But I wouldn't mind that at all, because you're adding more young talent right now, right? I understand that it's maybe not as good as maybe of lottery picks, right? But you're just adding more young talent immediately, and not having to wait for your pick to come again the following year, which is not guaranteed for you to keep either. I think Giddey, his changing of direction is very slow in footwork. Oh yeah, I mean, we talked about, I think Giddey overall is slow with everything in terms of his driving ability, his ability to leap off of driving, his shot, can't really shoot off the dribble that effectively. Like, it's all slow for Giddey. Lack of athleticism, lack of power. If he dropped 50, I'd be even more pissed off that it's something he could do but didn't. Oh, I agree with Patrick Williams, yeah. Let people get up 15 shots a game and then make the decision. That's what another team will do before they give up. I just disagree, honestly. I think Patrick Williams right now is showing you, because again, Patrick Williams is not gonna, you know, like, let's say Levine and Vooch are off the squad, right? Patrick Williams doesn't become suddenly like the first or second option. Your first option is gonna be Kobe White, right? Your second option is going to be someone between Ayadasumu, Josh Giddey, and whoever. Like, Williams is maybe the third option? Like, you're like, sure, maybe he gets 15 shots a game with being the third option, but like, that's not going to be his role on any other team then. He gets 15 shots a game because he is on a bad team. That doesn't make me feel any better for him when it comes to putting him on a squad to try to win games and be effective. He's just not going to get the shots because he's not that good of a player. He's just going to be relegated to off ball. And I even think on this team, like Zach is taking less shots than then compared to the rest of his career with the Bulls. Vooch is not taking that many shots either. Like, the shot disparity, like the shot spreading is there. Like, everyone's sharing. I know the Bulls didn't have that many assists now, but they ended with 20. Like, the shots are there for Patrick Williams. Like, he can easily shoot 12 a game in my opinion. He just doesn't get there. Can we compare Mathis and people on and off numbers? Yeah, we can do that in just a second here. You're behind. I understand, Rob. There's always another player in front of P. Will that people say is stopping him. Just put him out on the court by himself. Honestly, yeah. Which again, it's like, maybe there's a reason why there's always someone ahead of Patrick Williams in the pecking order. Like, maybe there's a reason. Just saying, you know? Maybe, have we thought about that? Like, oh yeah, maybe there's a reason why Patrick Williams is not ahead, higher in the pecking order. Like, maybe there's like an actual reason for it. Like, wow, who would have thought? Maybe because he lacks scoring talent. It's not like... Alright, we're gonna go to on-off numbers here. So, on-off, again, it's not perfect. I've always said this about on-off. It's not fully perfect. I'm gonna pull up some other stats here, actually, really quickly. Give me 1 second as I try to find my history. So just really quickly though, so we Noel asked for the Matas and Piwa on-off numbers, okay? So this is the on-off court traditional stuff for NBA.com. All right, so if you look at on-off, right, the Bulls' best player to on-off probably is Lonzo Ball, which he actually has the highest of anybody. So 3.8 plus minus, which is the highest of anybody. Okay, that's pretty cool. If you're wondering about Levine, like Levine this year, the Bulls are 0.6, and Vucevic is negative 1.7. Okay. Patrick Williams, though, this year, when Patrick Williams has been on the court, they've been a negative 5.8, that's astounding because, if I remember correctly, Ayadasumu had a pretty rough on-off, too, and Patrick Williams is somehow worse than Ayo by a good margin, so that's concerning. When Matas Buzelis is on the court, the Bulls are a plus 0.3 per game, so interesting. Those guys tend to, you know, when Matas is on, Patrick Williams is usually off, so that's interesting to look at. When it comes to off the court, the Bulls are negative 3.4 plus minus per game worse when Buzelis is off the court, and then when Patrick Williams is off the court, the Bulls are actually 1.4 plus minus better. So there's that already. So that's very concerning, just kind of right off the bat. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna look at some things here. Hold on, sorry, give me 1 second. Because there's a website that I'm using a lot recently that shows you like on off like traditional stuff. Like you can really see like the net rating of like on off with certain guys. Because like again, like I think like again I don't really know. Like, because this is just singular, like, on and off with this one player. But, like, I want to show you this other website that I've been using recently. Because it's one thing to show just, like, plus minus. But I think a better way to look at it is, like, what's the net rating for when a player is on versus when a player is off. And, I think that's something to always look... Sorry, hold on. I need to go to my phone for just a second because I don't remember the website name. I thought I pulled it up on my computer, but I guess I didn't. Okay, there's that. Sorry, one second. Peace. Oh, Okay, got it. Hold on. Sorry, hold on. I need to hide my screen for just a second here. Okay. Nope, that's Atlanta. Okay. So, this website here is called it's pbbstats.com. All right. So this is hold on. I'm gonna have to navigate the website because this is not fully what I'm looking for. Okay, let's see here. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Chicago. So yeah, I don't really care about that. Get stats. Okay. This isn't it either. Crap, bro. So is it totals? No. I don't want that. Chicago. Totals. Leverage starter stack. No, it's totals. Okay. Hold on 1 second. I do apologize. No, that's not it. Oh my god. I know you're gonna be like, it's this, Duncan. Like, it's not. This is not exactly what I'm looking for. I'll show you why. Because like this goes off of like 2-point field goal percentage and everything, which is this is not what I want. I just had this up the other day. Hold on. I need to go to my phone again. Oh crap. Okay. Hello? Work, please. There you go. I forgot how stupid this website is sometimes. Doesn't load. Alright, cool. No. Maybe PvP. Stats, tracking. No. No. Sorry, hold on. What the crap, bro? Nope. Crap. Sorry. It's a alright, it's totals. Nope, that's totals. Second chance move. Penalty scoring. Crap. Was it under screenshots? Regular season. Okay, hold on. So game logs, player, regular season. Chicago. This is just game logs, right? Like this is not. Yeah, this isn't helpful. What? Oh my god, bro. This website is so hard to figure out. All stats for a player, all players for stat. Hold on, I'm just gonna do Zach really quickly. Okay, so then it's the other way then. So it's all players for stat. Okay, so Chicago. Nope. Then it's not. Of course it's not. Totals. Games players. Sorry, hold on. I do apologize about this. Oh my god. Is it Wowie? It might just be. Oh, I forgot it's this. Oh my god, I hate. I have to do this. Okay. Possession. Okay. Blah 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 blah. Yeah. Get player stat. No, get. Team stats. All right. Let's reload. Cool. Awesome. Love this. No, I don't care about leverage either. Okay, get team stats. Player filter required. Really? Why? Do I need to like do this? Is this the issue? Oh, okay, hold on. Oh, we'll do this then. Is that okay? This is this. Okay, this is what I was trying to get to this entire time. I do apologize. I just want to really quickly look at this. Gets efficiently for all on-off combinations for selected players. Okay, hold on. One second. So, only include stats from games for players selected. Okay, so really quickly, just the reason why I was on this website was because I was looking for I was really looking into like Levine's leverage. Okay, so if you're wondering, by the way, in high leverage moments for Zach, so these are Zach's numbers this year in high leverage to very high leverage moments. So we're talking obviously like, you know, clutch is a hard stat to go off of because it's like it's a very specific like 5 minutes or less in the game, and in the game is within 5 points or less, right? But like the problem is with clutch is that you can go in and out of clutch, right? Because like let's say it's a 5-point game and then another team scores, right? Or the team ahead scores, then it's a 7-point game, therefore it's no longer a clutch game, right? Or that the next possession is not a clutch possession. So this website does a good job in my opinion of like showing that, okay, well if it's like big moments here, so like late game, it may not be within 5, but it's a big overall game here, like how do these specific players perform on when the team currently has them on the floor, right? So if you're wondering, for Levine this year, Zach has been one hell of a player in high leverage situations. The team is basically up plus 17.5 or 17.15 when he's on the floor versus when he's off the floor in high leverage. Okay, you just see that the overall offensive efficiency, the offensive rating is just higher. The 2-point field goal percentage is higher. The 3-point percentage is higher. The opponent 2-point field goal percentage is also higher, but the Bulls' defensive rating is pretty solid overall. I mean, again, it's limited minutes, but it is what it is. Now, if you're wondering though, the reason why I brought this up was for Patrick Williams, okay? Because we're not gonna do only high leverage or high, okay? We're just gonna go ahead and look at these numbers for when Patrick Williams is on versus when he's off the floor, okay? So you can already just kind of see here that when Patrick Williams is on the floor, okay, right, we're talking about a net rating of negative 8.54. When Patrick Williams is on the floor, it's about a negative 8.54 rating, okay? The team is better when he's off the floor because they have a 2 net rating when he's off the floor. The defensive rating is higher when he's off the floor. The 3-point percentage, then 2-point field goal percentage, like, it's not that big of a difference, but it is enough of a difference to show that, like, the offensive rating is just not where it needs to be when Patrick Williams is on the floor. He's pretty much been a negative in terms of the offense for him this year. So this overall website, it's, again, pbbstats.com. It's hard to navigate, so if you ever go on here, take your time. I'll go ahead and paste this in chat, though, because I do think that this sort of stuff is always important. But this, again, I think this is just kind of a better overall look at it instead of like this. This is good to look at, but I think this is kind of like a better overall, like, broad look at how things are. Now, if you're wondering, you can also add players. So I want to just go ahead and add Buzelis. So this is also interesting, right? Like, because I've always said that when, there's always, you need to kind of measure time when it's like, okay, well, both guys could be off the floor, right? How does that look versus when Buzelis is on the floor and Patrick Williams is off, and then vice versa, right? This website does that for you. But if you look at this right now, right, this is interesting. So when P. Will is on the court and Montes Buzelis is off the court, right, the net rating is -6 for that, okay? When both players are off the court, the net rating is basically even, okay? So the team is basically dead even when this happens, okay? But to Noel's point, I think this is kind of the bigger thing here, okay? When Montes Buzelis is on the floor and Patrick Williams is off the floor, okay, the net rating is 5.93, positive 5.93. The defensive rating takes a considerable increase, okay, for the Bulls, okay? 109.03 net rating is a much better net rating than obviously 117, 118, okay? And the offense is at 114, so it's not as good as when they're both off the floor, but it's at least better than when Patrick Williams is on the floor. Unfortunately, for the people that want to see the Buzelis and P. Will play together lineups, this combination here in 65 minutes has had a negative 37.78 net rating. Limited minutes, so, limited sample size overall, but this is not great, obviously. If you're thinking about that, this specific lineup moving forward is going to be like, oh yeah, we'll be looking at this like as maybe our potential front court of the future. Like, that doesn't look too good so far. Again, limited minutes, but not great. So I just want to point that out there. The other website I want to just quickly look at, just to kind of like really look into Patrick Williams and like what's his impact right now versus Montes Buzelis. It's this website, and unfortunately, I will get a little bit nerdy here, okay? So this website it's basically estimated plus minus. It's from Dunks and Threes. It does get pretty heavily analytical, but again, I'm not like too, like, I just kind of look at this a little bit, like, it's just to kind of really start measuring players in terms of like what's their estimated plus minus overall. So if you're wondering this year, I'm interested. I think Zach has recently dropped, unfortunately. Did I pass him? Unless he's somehow randomly negative. Like the other day I just looked at this for Zach, like he was positive. But he was like +2. Like he was basically like where Norman Powell was. Like right. Oh yeah, here he is. So Zach this year, in terms of the estimated plus minus, like he's adding like +2 overall offense, and then about -0.1 defense. So it's not that big of a negative in terms of his defensive, right? His usage, as you can see, is not that high. Like it's like 59th kind of in terms of usage rating. But you see here, like he's averaging, like, this is like pretty okay for Zach. Obviously not the greatest rebounder, but like kind of just everything overall. Like this is like a really solid season for Zach. Defensively, again, he's not amazing, but it's like you're not getting as so much of a negative with him, like how we've seen from last year, let's say. The question is then, what is Patrick Williams? Because this is kind of the interesting thing to look at. I hate that I have to. Okay, cool. We'll command F it. Oh, interesting. Awesome. Well, I guess we won't command F it. Okay. I hate that they're like, hey, you have to subscribe, blah, 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 blah. Okay, cool. Okay, we can't command F it because they're smart. But I don't know where he is here. I might honestly have to go by minutes per game just to kind of get there easier. Sorry, really quickly here. So Pat is averaging 26.6 minutes per game. Okay, we'll just go off that then. Sorry, we have to go to actual. Okay. Sorry, we'll go back to actual just really quickly. So if you want about actual estimated plus minus, here's Zach. He's actually looking a little bit better. He's plus 2.1 versus 1.9. Defensively, he's a little bit worse, but offensively, he's added a little bit more than expected. So yeah, there's that. Now, in terms of minutes per game, this is the actual minutes per game. Okay, so it's not estimated minutes per game, but it's the actual. So Patrick Williams this year, bro. Whew. Okay, so actual plus minus here for estimated actual plus minus. I mean, we're talking about offensively, he is -2.8. Defensively, which is supposed to be his calling card, is -1.1. So it's an estimated -4.0 plus minus for him. Efficiency, not good. Oof. That doesn't look good for Pat at all. Yeah, not great. Yeah, fuck. Okay, I hate that they did that. So okay, well, just keep in mind -4.0 for Pat. Here's this though, so 12.8. So for Buzelis, okay. I mean, this is what we're looking at. It's not that much better, but defensively he's better. Well, offensively he's been pretty much similar in terms of offensive estimated plus minus, right? But it's better than what Patrick Williams is doing, which I think is kind of concerning, right? So I want to really quickly look at this because I think this will show you guys, like, I do think Kobe is still, he has his issues that he has to kind of work out here. Ooh, Io's at a -2.2 defense. That's not good. That needs to get better for Io. Kobe should be up here. But he doesn't average more. I know he doesn't average more minutes than Zach, so I don't know. Kobe. 32.8. Is that what it was? Nope. 32.6. Oh, he's here. Duh. Okay. Yeah, so this year for Kobe, he's plus 0.8 on offense, and then he's -1.9 defensively. He's been, I guess, relatively better than Io defensively, but not much better. Io has also played less minutes, though, so just keep that in mind. But he's -1.1 in terms of estimated plus minus, so... Where was Io again? Here's Io, so he's been -2.6. This isn't good for Io. Yeah, Io needs to get better on defense. His offense actually somehow has been better than Kobe, which is interesting. There's also a reason why it's not always perfect, right? Like, there's always expected versus versus actual. So like again, like Zach's expected is shows he's gonna be maybe a little bit less than what he's actually doing right now. But let's see. So Io's expected is supposed to be this. Kobe's this. So Kobe's supposed to be like net negative or net zero in terms of net. So yeah, just something to keep in mind, because well, I understand it's like all these stats are like, there are a lot of stats, and it's just like, God, like what are we looking at? It's something just like, again, like it's not perfect. It doesn't always track everything, right? Like there's the one issue in basketball is that players, a player's overall impact is not always shown in the box score, so it's kind of hard to like always track to see like, oh, like this player actually is impacting the game, but like, oh, but you know, it doesn't show up in the box score. So there's always just kind of stuff that it's just kind of hard to kind of look through. But this is also just stuff that I always look into, because it's like, how do you match up against your peers? So it's kind of just in general overall ratings to kind of look at things. So yeah, not looking great. 100 mil 5-year contract, yeah, not looking great, bro. That contract is looking worse and worse every single day. Everything just points to the Bulls should get assets and hit rebuild. Yeah, that's the way I look at it right now. As fast breaks are just more consistent than Kobe shooting. I agree. Like Io's overall shooting is just more consistent. I mean, Io is a 6'4" guard, or I guess they list him at 6'5", but I mean, he's consistently 49% or higher. And even though he's shooting back from 3-point range, it's just like, I guess just offensively, you just take the more efficient player. You know, he's scoring less, but he's shooting less, obviously. He's shooting less shots. So if Io can increase his defensive intensity to like what he was his rookie season, because Io's rookie season for defense, like he was, in terms of what Basketball Index had him rated, like he was one of the top 5 point of attack defenders in the league. So I'm sure that's gone down a little bit because he's had to sort of kind of play a little bit more off ball defense, but ideally that gets back up to higher. So I don't know what's going to take for Io to get back up there, but at least what we've seen that before though from Io, right? Like we've seen before from Io, it's like, oh, like his on-ball defense can be pretty effective. So hopefully he can get back up there, because then you're then looking at, you know, solid defensively, and then obviously his efficiency on offense. I think everyone except Montes is tradable. Oh, well, for sure, Noel. I mean, I think everybody is tradable. Everyone should be tradable. No one, even Buzelis is not untouchable, right? Everyone is tradable. For sure. All right, y'all. No, we didn't really discuss too much about the game tonight, but once again, I'm just pretty disappointed with how some of the younger players. So pretty frustrating just to kind of overall see. Hard to be a point of attack defender when you have to cover for Kobe and Giddey, and Zach doesn't help defend. Oh, and then obviously having Vooch too, right? As like your pick and roll partner defensively. Yeah, it doesn't help, you know. Yeah, it definitely does not help Io that he has to cover up for other people's weaknesses and then try to also be that point of attack defender and recover. So yeah, if he's obviously in a better defensive system, he looks a lot better. I agree, Viper Strike. Not a fire sale, but I would sell everything in like 2 years. Same. Yeah. Again, if Levine is somehow still on the team after this season, like I think it's okay. I think he declines his player option anyway. So hopefully by then you would be able to kind of like really reset things at that point. Okay, y'all. Just want to say thank you so much for tuning into the stream tonight. We had over 50 people checking out the stream, so thank you so much. You know, late West Coast game, so I appreciate you guys checking in. So I want to go ahead and say this before I end stream. So tomorrow, the Bulls do play again tomorrow, if you're wondering. So there was a schedule change because of the wildfires that affected all the people in LA. It also affected Clippers and Lakers games, so there was a schedule change. This game is supposed to be played on Tuesday, but the Bulls have to play a back-to-back tomorrow, second game of back-to-back. So pretty frustrating, but this is a 9:30 p.m. game, okay? So the game tonight started at 8 for Central Time for the Bulls. So if you're in Chicago, started at 8. This game doesn't start till 9:30 p.m. Central Time, all right? I'm just going to go ahead and say that tomorrow there will not be a stream after the game, okay? I could stream, but the earliest the stream would start is at midnight, and it's midnight now, if you're wondering. It's basically midnight, like, right now. So, we're not gonna be here, starting stream at midnight, and then talking until 1:30 in the morning on a Monday night, okay? I am aware it is MLK Day, so I just want to go ahead and say happy MLK Day, to everybody, but, I'm not going to be streaming until 1:30 or 2 a.m. on a Monday night. Like, if it's a weekend, I'll do it, but not not on a Monday night. So, no stream tomorrow. Bulls do play, so do tune in. And we'll see how this game goes. Kawhi, I don't think Kawhi's going to play because he played tonight. Lonzo should be back, though, so this will be an interesting game to look at. As much as the Bulls have lost against some of the worst teams in the NBA recently, I would not be shocked if they just somehow win this one. Because for some reason, they just had that mental block of like, oh, a bad team, we'll play down to them. But then, a 24-17 team, 5th in the Western Conference, we got to bring our A game, and they bring their A game and somehow win it because Kawhi isn't playing. Norman Powell's had one hell of a season for the Clippers. If you're not aware about Norman Powell's year, it's almost kind of similar to what Zach is doing this year. Just kind of over, like, he's mostly just scoring. Like, Levine's doing a little bit like some other stuff, but Powell this year has been pretty impressive in my opinion. He's gonna give all-star consideration. Probably won't make it, unfortunately, but he's been pretty solid. But Harden is still being effective, even though he's not shooting as efficiently anymore. And Zubac has had one hell of a season too. So here's Powell's numbers. So it's again similar to Zach's in points per game. Field goal percentage is also relatively similar to what Levine is doing. It's very funny that Norman Powell is 31 years old and he suddenly is going to have his best season of his career, so that's pretty cool to see. So the Bulls gonna have their hands full tomorrow night as they take on the Clippers in the Intuit Dome, so it's gonna be cool to see the new Bulls play in the new arena by the Clippers. So thank you guys so much for tuning into the stream. So I'll be not streaming tomorrow, but I'll be streaming then. The next time you'll see me is on Thursday when the Bulls take on the Golden State Warriors. I will be streaming after that game, even though that's also a late game. So be ready for that one. All right. If you have not already hit the like button on the stream, please do. It helps me out a ton. Thank you for watching currently live, or if you're watching the VOD, I do sincerely appreciate it. And then I'll see you guys next time. All right, y'all. Happy MLK Day. Peace out, y'all.